You know, it's the question everyone asks. How do I get rich? Well, according to author Robert Kiyosaki, the answer is way simpler than you think. In fact, he says he learned the entire formula from a kid's board game.
And no, I'm not kidding. If you've ever played a game of Monopoly, you've already been taught the secret to wealth. This is the exact real-world investment formula that Kiyosaki and his wife used to build their entire financial empire.
So when the real estate market took a nosedive, what did they do? They went out and bought up as many small houses, their greenhouses, as they possibly could. Then, when the market bounced back, they traded all of those in for huge apartment complexes, their red hotels. And get this, it's not just about property. It's the exact same model McDonald's used. Perfect one little thing, build a system, and then scale it up.
Okay, so if the doing part is that simple, if it's not some kind of rocket science, why isn't everyone wealthy? I mean, that's the real puzzle, isn't it? There's a reason Napoleon Hill's famous book is called Think and Grow Rich, not Work Your Tail Off and Grow Rich. The what to do is often the easy part. The real roadblock is somewhere else entirely.
To really get it, we've got to go back to a concept Kiyosaki learned way back in the 70s. An instructor just wrote 3 little words on a whiteboard: be, do, and have. And this simple little framework, well, it's the key that unlocks why most people's grand plans for success just completely fall flat.
See, here's where almost everyone gets it backwards. They start with what they want to have. I want to have $1 million. I want to have the perfect body. So then they make a big to-do list, but it almost always fails. And why? Because they never bother to change who they need to be. They try to do a crash diet, but they never made the core decision to be a healthy person. So of course they just slide right back into their old habits. It's like this. Picture a really bad golfer, right? You can give him the most expensive set of clubs in the world, that's the have, but it's totally pointless if he hasn't adopted the mindset, the discipline, the being of a great golfer. He's still just a lousy golfer. You can't buy the results. You have to become the person who creates them.
All right, so how do we tie this all back to making money? Well, making that leap from an employee mindset to an investor mindset isn't about what you do. It's not about just getting a different job. It's 100% about who you need to become. It's a total rewiring of how you think.
And the absolute key to making that shift, it all comes down to something called emotional intelligence. Daniel Goleman made this famous. It's your ability to manage your own emotions so you can make smart decisions, especially when you're under pressure. And let's be honest, when is money not about pressure?
Now get this, according to Kiyosaki, your financial IQ is 90% emotional intelligence and only 10% technical stuff. And that right there, that's why being book smart doesn't mean you'll be rich. Your ability to keep your cool and manage your emotions is way more important than knowing how to read a spreadsheet.
And if you think that's just an opinion, listen to this. The science from Goleman's work says our emotional brain is a whopping 24 times more powerful than our rational brain. So when emotions like fear and greed start flaring up around money, our logic just gets steamrolled, unless we've specifically trained ourselves to handle it.
Now this is where it gets really fascinating. Think about an employee and an investor. They both feel the exact same emotion, the fear of losing money. The difference isn't the feeling, it's the thought that comes next. The employee thinks, play it safe, avoid all risk. The investor thinks, play it smart, learn how to manage the risk. Same emotion, but a totally different reality.
So that leads us right into the belly of the beast, the one single biggest emotional hurdle that stands between most people and real wealth, that deep, paralyzing fear of losing.
You want to know a giant red flag that your emotions are driving the bus? It's when you start using the word feel to justify your money choices. I just don't feel like learning about this stuff. Psychologists call this the child brain taking over, the part that wants what it wants right now. To get rich, you have to let the adult brain, the logical part, make the calls.
Kiyosaki tells this incredible story about when he and his wife were literally homeless, sleeping in their car. He said every bone in their body was screaming at them to just give up and go get a safe, stable job. But what kept them in the game was this one piece of advice from his rich dad. You can always quit, so why quit now? It was that rational, adult voice cutting right through all the emotional chaos.
So let's just put it out there, plain and simple. The number one reason people fail financially isn't because they're not smart enough or don't have opportunities. It's because they are absolutely terrified of losing. But here's the crazy part. If that fear keeps you from ever even getting in the game, you've already lost.
You can see this play out perfectly in the stock market. The average person buys a stock. If it goes up just a little bit, they sell immediately because they're scared of losing that tiny profit.
But if that same stock starts to tank, oh, they'll hold onto it for years, hoping and praying it'll come back, because they're terrified of admitting they made a mistake. They do the complete opposite of what a professional investor does.
It boils down to a super simple, kind of brutal rule. Winners are disciplined about cutting their losers fast. Losers, on the other hand, they ride their losers all the way to the bottom.
So, after all that, we come full circle right back to the main point. It's not about what you have to do to get rich. It's all about who you have to be. What does that person actually look like on the inside? Well, the person who wins has learned to be emotionally neutral. They don't get giddy when they win, and they don't get crushed when they lose. To them, losing isn't this big, dramatic failure. It's just data. It's feedback. It's a lesson they paid for. They are resilient, and they've mastered their emotions so that fear and greed are just signals in the car, not the ones driving. And that, right there, is the ultimate secret. The entire path to wealth, it's an inside job. It's about conquering your own mind. Because once you finally master that inner world, your mindset, your emotions, your discipline, the outer world of money and investing, it actually becomes pretty simple. Buying 4 greenhouses for 1 red hotel, that becomes the easy part.
So at the end of the day, the question you have to ask yourself isn't, what do I need to do? The real question, the one that changes everything, is who do I need to become? Because that is the real work. And it's the only work that will get you the life you really want.